Hi guys, it is Sunday, March 2nd, 2025, and I'm here to do my February whip update. I just uploaded my January one because I'm a slacker, so go back and watch my January one. Um, so February it was a pretty good month. It was okay. Um, I hit all my goals. I finished my categories. I did both of my focus pieces. I did my section on Under the Evergreen for the month of February because that's the one that I divided into 12. So I finished all my goals. I did not do WIPGO, but I don't I don't do my WIPGO month by month. I'm like, these are year-long goals. I have the whole year to complete it. I don't do it like, oh, it's called this month, let me stitch it. I don't pay too much attention to that. So I have some stitching and some stash and my Hands Across the Sea box, the All Things Bright and Beautiful box that I got and that I ordered at the end of January. And Nicola did the unboxing video. She posted an unboxing video, so um, I'm gonna go through that. And and we got plans and a little bit of life stuff. I'll tell you about something I found out last night. It was funny. Um, anyway, these whips are not really in any particular order. I had one start. I didn't finish anything. Not really in any particular order. They're just kind of stacked here. So we're just gonna show them the way that they're stacked here. So this first one that's on top is my work project. And this is Kimono by Donna Gallagher. And I actually took a good look at the chart, and it's actually called Serenity Kimono because it's in a leaflet with two other projects. So this one is called Serenity Kimono by Donna Gallagher. And I think I did 300 and what did I do on this month? I did 350 stitches on it. All of them in 316. I've done 676 stitches on this so far this year, and all except 4 of them have been in that 316 pink. But I'm almost done. I'm almost done. See how this comes up right here? I'm working on that part right here. And then I'm going to start getting into some bonsai trees or something besides pink. So, so I'm going to take it to work on Tuesday. And then I think I'm in the office on Thursday this week. So on Tuesday I should be able to finish the pink. And then on Thursday I should be in a bonsai tree or something besides pink. So that's Kimono by Donna Gallagher. This was for a category. This was for seasonal. This was my new start. This is one of my new starts from January for tissue box. So this is Rainy Weather by Mill Hill. And it's seasonal because rain is associated with spring. Even though I think the color of his leaf, he looks a little more autumny to me, but because, rain is part of a season, it's part of spring. And in some places, like in the tropics, rain is a season in itself. I just dropped that. Excuse me for a second. All right. Ay, 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 ay. So here's I'm trying not to make you seasick here, but here is rainy weather. I only did 100 stitches on it. So he's got more of his coat. He's got a belly. He's got a boot. He's got his nose and his ear. So there he or the inside of his ear, the tip of his nose. So there's rainy weather. This next one, well, we'll do that at the end. This was my new start. Okay, this next one is Silver Moon Sea by Mirabilia, Nora Corbett. This was for the category Celestial because, of course, she's sitting in the moonlight drinking her tea. So I did 300 stitches on this. Most of it was in the white, in the moon. I got down to the row right above her hair. I got down to the row where the moonlight, where the moon starts touching her hair. So, and then I did a little bit of this purple fill-in over here where I had frogged the previous stitches. So I started filling that back in. So it's kind of hard to see, but I just did a bunch more moon. Maybe this month I will maybe I'll start on her hair. Or maybe I'll do some more moon. I don't know. This doesn't fit in the categories this month, but I might try to do some on it for temperature stitching, and also because it fits into Stitch to the Moon. And I'm trying to be conscientious about putting stitches on Stitch to the Moon because full coverage is not my go-to, so I sort of have to think about it. Okay. Here's a project we all know and love. This, of course, is my dogs. And this is Retrievers by Janlin. Charted by Sporting Masters, kitted by Janlin. And I did 400 stitches on this. And it kind of made a big difference. You can see where I filled in a lot of his body right here, and I took it, it's hard to see on the camera, but I took it all the way down the back of the black dog and down in here. And so it was, it was at that point where you can see the difference. So that was exciting. This is a focus piece. I'm trying to put 400 stitches a month in it every month. I did not make it in January. I only did 100 in January. But I did do 400 in February. And I also used it for categories. I used it as my alternate for longest since worked on. I don't like that category, and I always use the alternate for that. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the category. It's just the piece that I haven't worked on in the longest is something that I don't want to pull out. So I'll pull it out in the future, but right now I don't want to pull it out and do 100 stitches on it and put it back. So I just use this when that comes up. So there's my yellow doggy, and he's adorable. He looks better in the camera than he does in real life. Like, in the camera, the colors kind of blend together better. In real life, you can see all of the shading and you can see all of the different colors. And on the camera, it's a little bit blown out, but the colors kind of blend together better. So we will bring him back out for 400 more stitches next month. It's over there. Okay. This is my other focus piece that I'm trying to do 400 stitches a month on. And I'm going to show this on my phone. This is Savannah's Curtsy by Mirabilia. This is hard to see because it's a lot of white on white. But I also did 400 stitches on this. Again, trying to do 400 stitches every month. And this one I did do in January and in February, and you can kind of see I filled in 400 stitches of white right along here. It's hard to see, but there's really 400 stitches of white that I filled in right there. So I'm working on her white skirt. I had thought, I had looked at the chart and I had thought maybe if I get 5,000 stitches in her this year, maybe I could make her the one that I divide into 12 parts to finish next year. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, that would work. And then I looked at it again, and the floor by itself is 5,000 stitches. And so I don't know if 5,000 stitches this year is going to be enough to get her close enough to finishing next year. Like, 5,000 stitches is like 400 and something a month, which I can do, but that's just for the floor. Like, in order to finish the rest of it, I would probably have to do something like 700 or 800 or 1,000 stitches a month. And I have a lot of friends who can do that, no problem. But the chances of me doing that every month for the entire year are not very good. Like, it's not realistic for me to think that I'm going to do that. So, I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this next year. We'll see. I might see if I can bump my stitches up this year to 500 or 600. That would be a little more reasonable, and that would help push me a little further on it. But, yeah, I wanted to try to finish this next year, but I don't know that I'm going to be close enough. Okay, this is a piece that I'm focusing on, that I'm trying to finish, like, now. I keep dropping everything. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is, Tetelestai by Quint Rose Needle Arts. You can buy the PDF on Etsy. It's also available as a paper chart. And I wanted to do 500 stitches on this month, and I only got to 300. I did 300, and I decided to move on, and I thought, I'll come back and do the other 200, and I didn't have time. I didn't get there. So I did 300 stitches, and I did them Can you see that? I don't know if you can. But I did these stitches along... I'm a hot mess today, aren't I? I did them along the oh, it's actually... I did them along the left side of the cross here. So I did those, and then next we'll be going up into this part. And this is the part where I was, in 2023, I was frogging and restitching and frogging and restitching. So month. We're going to get into that. And hopefully, because I'm going to work from the bottom and go up, it's not going to be a problem. So I'm really trying to finish this piece. I think there's about 22 or 2,300 stitches left maybe. So I'm really trying to knock this one out. So there is Tetelestai. So maybe this month I can aim for 700 and make up the 200. I didn't do last month. Like, I can do it for 1 month, but to do it every month for a year is... Because if you guys have been watching me, you know, I've done 1,000 stitches or 1,500 stitches on a project in a month. But usually that's when I'm trying to finish it, and I'm very motivated to keep going. To do it every month in the middle of a project is kind of not very likely. This one is this one. This one is Travel Memories by Dimension Gold Collection Petites. I did Tetelestai for the category older than 2 years, because I started it on January 1st of 2023, and it was a February category, so technically it was older than 2 years. This is my progress on Travel Memories. So I did 600 half stitches on this, and I did 119 whole stitches on this. The 119 whole stitches were in this bottom corner down here, the black. And then I did all of this side here. I need to get boards like the Sunshine Stitches use. So this is one of the letters, and this is where the pen is, right here. This, of course, is the butterfly. So, so it was 419 stitches. So this is the other one that I'm really trying to focus on it. I'm trying to finish it. So it doesn't fit into... Oh, I did this for categories for Has Words, I think. Yeah, I did this for Has Words. So, so I'm trying to finish this so I can give it to my friend if he ever manages to find time for me in his schedule. So, there's that. Okay. So, this next one is Under the Evergreen. And you're getting a little sneak peek of March because I stitched on it yesterday. And I thought, oh, wait, I didn't do my video yet. So you're getting a little sneak peek there that I'm working on the Jack in the Box. But for February, what I did is and you're not going to be able to see this. I did all of the back stitch on the tree. I did like 10 cross stitches where I filled in ninja stitches. But I did all of the back stitch on the tree and all of the back stitch on the top part of the border. Like basically from here all the way around to over here. I backstitched the top part of the border, and I backstitched all the ornaments on the tree. So for March, we're doing the top half of the Jack in the Box, like the lid and the lid, his head, his hands, his collar, his hair, And then the part below it is the bottom half, his shirt, the rest of the box. And that'll be a different month. Maybe in April. I'm not sure what month that'll be, but so I'm gonna stitch on this tonight. Last month, I had decided that I was going to channel Sarah at our Stitching Kingdom because Sarah does her stitch along, the one that she divides into 12. She does it first thing every month. As soon as the month changes, that's the first thing she picks up, and she does her portion of her stitch along that month. And I was like, I'm going to do that, and I did that in February, and it was fantastic. It felt so good to have this done. I think I spent 4 or 5 days back stitching, and it felt so good to have it done. And I finished it, and I put it away, and I didn't have to worry about it for the rest of the month. I went to the rest of the month, and I did my categories, and I did my focus pieces, and I just knew January and February for my stitch along are done. It was wonderful. So I'm going to do that again this month. I'm going to do the cross stitch. The back stitch, because I'm only doing the top half of the Jack in the Box and not the bottom half, I might hold off on the back stitch until I get the bottom half done so that I can back stitch the whole thing together. But that doing it first thing in the month was fantastic. So I am going to do that again. Okay, last piece. This is my new start. So this is my other tissue box. I have 2 tissue boxes. One is the Mill Hill Rainy Weather. And those, I'm going to finish one before I do the next. I'm not trying to have 12 Mill Hills on the go. So I haven't finished Rainy Weather yet. So for February, I only did one. I have Mill Hill and I have Lizzie Kate. So for February, I let's try this. Where is it? Here it is. So February for January I did Plant a Tree, and for February I did Ride a Bike. This is a lot of fabric. So I'm doing them all together on one piece of fabric. And so there's Plant a Tree and there's Ride a Bike. I did 112 stitches. And that was my start. Oh, I forgot to say, I did not count the back stitch on Under the Evergreen. So when I was totaling my stitches for the month, it came out to almost 2,400. I'm just short of 2,400. And I was a little bit bummed because last month I was over 2,600. But then I realized I did do a lot more stitching. I did a bunch of back stitch on Under the Evergreen that I just didn't count. So I actually do have more stitches. I'm not counting back stitch. It's a pain in the butt. So there's my start. So that is my stitching, and like I just said, it was just short of 2,400 stitches plus the back stitch that I didn't count. So still trying to get to that elusive 3,000, preferably 4,000. Haven't quite been able to get there yet, but I'm trying. So I'm trying. Plans. We have categories. March categories. first category, haven't stitched in 2025. And that is going to be this girl. This is going to be Bells of Ireland. This is also Nora Corbett. And this is my very slow speed Sal with race with Vic from Stitch and Button. We're kind of sort of racing, but neither one of us work on it very often. She put about 500 stitches in hers when I was in Mexico in December. So I'm going to stitch on it this month and try to. She's a little bit ahead of me. So if I can get 500 stitches in it, then I can get ahead of her. Large is going to be Savannah. And my monthly goal on that is 400 stitches. So less than 10 colors is going to be Tetelestai. And I want to do 500. Maybe I can make my way to 700 because the more stitches I do, the closer I get it to finishing. Has no block. And this was a surprise. I had to go check because I was like, does this fit? Has no block is Under the Evergreen. So I went and looked at the floss list, and 310 is not on the floss list for Under the Evergreen. So that's going to be it has no black, and of course I'm doing the Jack in the Box. And then Scenic, I had a fight with Vic over this one. So I wanted, because I have a monthly goal on it, and I wanted it to fit in the categories, I wanted to use the dogs. So I was like, hey, do the dogs count for Scenic? And Vic says no. I'm like, come on, they're clearly in grass. They're outside. And she's like, no, it's a portrait. Okay, fine. She said, either use something that fits or use your alternate. Well, my alternate is the dogs. So I can do that. But I decided that I'm going to use Central Park in the Fall by Thomas Kincaid and Candamar. I'm probably only going to do 100 stitches on it. Maybe I'll do 200 because I can put it in Stitch to the Moon. But it's not going to get a ton of attention, but it'll give me stitches to put in Stitch to the Moon. So I'm going to do a little bit on that. So that will be for Scenic. So yeah. So those are the categories. They're pretty good. Like, I'm not mad. And most of what I wanted fits in there. I would have liked it if Travel Memories would have fit, but it doesn't. I'm going to try to work on Travel Memories. I also have temperature stitching. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. I don't know that this is working for me. The problem that I have with temperature stitching is, and if you're not familiar, it's basically you're using the second digit of the temperature that day as like a random number generator. That's basically what it is. Is you pick assign a project to each number from 0 to 9, and then whatever the second number in the temperature that day is, you stitch on the project assigned to that number. So I think I have 7 or 8 projects. I think I have 7 because I have 3 of them assigned to 2 numbers. Or 4 of them assigned to 2 numbers. 3 of them. And the problem that I have is that I sort of stitch in blocks. And so like Under the Evergreen, I'll stitch on Under the Evergreen until I finish with that section. And then I'm hoping not to go back to it for the rest of the month. That's the point of doing it at the beginning of the month, is so that it's done. But then the next project I work on, say I do Tetelestai next, I'll probably do 300 or 400 stitches in it, or maybe I'll do 500. But generally, I'll try to do all of my stitches on it and then go on to the next project. And I usually don't come back to it. So the problem is of course, if I do 500 stitches on Tetelestai, like the second week of the month, and it has two numbers assigned to it, there's an excellent chance that it's going to be called several more times before the end of the month. And I'm not going to get back to it at the end of, again in the month. So I'm always behind. And so what I've been doing is, like, when I stitch on it, if there are ones that it's already been called for that month, I'll delete them. And then I still have my list from the previous months. So if I have some from the previous months, I'll delete the oldest of those. But my list is always just building up, and so I don't know if this is going to work. I could delete the old lists, and I know my friends are doing that. Like, if they don't finish it, they just delete it. I could do that. But in order to make it work, really, I would have to like change projects. Like, I know that one of my friends, she'll wait until there's 2 or 3 of them, and she'll do them all at once. Like, she'll do the 300 stitches. But she does it all at once, and then she's done. If it takes me 3 days to do 300 stitches, yeah, I've done 3 days. I've gotten rid of 3 days, but in the meantime, 3 more days have gone on there. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with temperature stitching. I might end up giving it up. I don't know. I don't know if it's working for me. But I remember several years ago, probably in 2021, when I was playing Uno and Semi-Sane, and it's that same kind of idea, where they make a call every day and you got to do the stitches. I did that, and there were some days that I had to go and catch up, but it actually got me a lot of stitches. So maybe I'll do it that way. I don't know. So we'll see. Yeah, I originally put Under the Evergreen on the list for March, but again, it conflicts with, I want to do Under the Evergreen first thing, get it out of the way, and it conflicts with that, so I don't know. And then I just said, well, I could just take Under the Evergreen off and I'll use Silvermane Tea in that spot. I don't know. So, what else do we have for plans? Yeah, so categories: 400 stitches on the dogs, 400 stitches on Savannah, which is also a category. Maybe I'll get to 700 on Tetelestai. I'd like to work in Travel Memory somewhere. I want to harass Vic about Bells of Ireland. So, yeah. I think that's it for plans. And the new start for this month for the Lizzie Kate Flip Its is going to be Kind to Animals. So that'll be on the 14th. I don't really have any other new starts planned. I'm really trying to finish Tetelestai and finish Travel Memories before I start anything else. So I'm really not trying to start anything. I'm trying to get some of the stuff done. I'd also like to finish Poppy. And she has not made it. She was in categories for January, but not for February and not for March. So that's the next one that I'd like to try to finish. So this is why I need to get my stitch count back up to 4,000, because I can't make all these goals on 2,500 stitches a month. So I'm still working on that. Anyway, that's plans. Life stuff is kind of... Did anything interesting happen? I've been working. So I've been working on this genealogy stuff still. I kind of poke at it here and there. I've been talking to my uncle about it. So last night, I I've been trying to I've been going through my matches, and so I'll try to see, oh, is there a close enough connection that I can put this on my tree, or that I can connect it to somebody who's already on my tree. And I have two/three trees. I have a tree that is, my big family tree, and it has my mom's family, my dad's family, and if I get somebody who I can connect to people on that tree, I'll put them on that tree. I have another sort of scratch paper tree that I use where I don't know how they connect to my family, but I'm connecting them to each other. So I have a different tree that I use. Okay, these are people that I can connect them to each other, and I'm using it for that and building those trees out. And I think there's several on there. There's several different trees of matches that I've connected together. And then eventually, hopefully, I'm gonna figure out where they connect to my big tree. So last night I was working on this match that turns out connects to the big tree. It connects to my mom's family. And I found enough information overlapping a tree that overlaps mine enough that I could add this person to the tree. And so I was looking at her dad and her dad's siblings, and I recognized his sister was his sister was a school teacher who taught my mom and my younger uncle, when they were in grade school. She taught at the Catholic school. I don't know if she had my two older uncles, but she had my mom and her younger brother. Maybe she had the two older ones. I don't know. So I'm like, oh, look, there she is. So I recognized her. I knew who she was. But it was her brother that I was trying to add to the tree. And so I'm in there trying to trace, okay, how does he add to how does he fit in the tree? Who are his ancestors, his parents, his grandparents? How can I, build my tree down to match, to meet him? And then I think it's his daughter. I'm not actually sure who the match is. It might be his granddaughter. But I was coming across two different wives, and I'm like, and a lot of people have multiple marriages, and that's fine. But I always want to know, is this a multiple marriage? Did they get divorced? Did the first spouse die? And they had a second spouse? Or is this an error in somebody's tree? So I discovered that the first wife divorced him in June of 1971. And it said, gross neglect of duty, which sounds like an affair to me. And so then he marries a second wife at the end of July of 1971. And I'm like, yep, that's where the duty was going. And then he dies in November of 1971. And the death certificate says, pistol held by the wife went off accidentally. And I posted it to my friends in the group chat, and they were like, accidentally, uh-huh. I'm like, right? So I'm like, wow. So he went from divorced to be married to dead like in 5 months. So that was my genealogy adventure last night. I'm still working on one of the things that I'm trying to do. One of the main things I'm trying to do with the genealogy is see if I can figure out who my great-grandfather's birth family was. And so I did a little bit of work on that. I'm a little bit frustrated because I've been kind of trying to do it like by process of elimination, but I don't know that that's the best way. It's very long and it's very time consuming. And so I had joined a new genealogy group and I posted in there, does anybody know of a better way to do this? Because I've been kind of doing it by, well, they don't belong to my grandfather's family, and they don't belong to my grandmother's mother's family, so maybe they belong to my grandmother's father's family. And um, somebody posted a comment that had reminded me that I thought I had separated my matches into the 4 family lines. It turns out that I had separated them into, I think I had separated them by my grandmother's grandparents. So I had 4 lines, but they weren't like my grandmother's parents and my grandfather's family. It was my grandmother's paternal grandparents and my grandmother's maternal grandparents. So I went through and I made a list of who all those people are. And then I started looking for other matches that were not, because I have them all marked. All the people that I think are my grandmother's family, I have them all marked. So I started looking for other groups of matches that were not marked, and I found a whole nother set of matches. So maybe those are my grandfather's family. I don't know, but I'm still working on that. I don't know that there's really anything else. I took a ditch day. Well, I took 2 ditch days from work. Sweet Magnolias dropped on Netflix the first week of February, and it dropped on Thursday, and I took Friday off work to watch. And I didn't really do as much stitching as I would have liked, but I watched Sweet Magnolias. And then this past Tuesday, I decided I just don't want to go to work, and I got out. And I did some stitching, not as much as I would have liked, but I did some. But then on Wednesday, I'm like, I better get my bed up and go to work. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I did, but I don't think so. So, um, oh, there's not a lot because the Hands Across the Sea box was not cheap. So I'm like, okay, I spent a lot on that. Let me kind of dial back the rest of the spending. So I got and this was the day before the box was gonna go on sale. I got, I don't remember if I showed this in my January video, but I don't think I did because I don't think I had it yet. Maybe I showed it. I don't know, but if I showed it, you're seeing it again. I got a 28 count macchiato, which is a nice. I think I might have shown it, but it's a nice, neutral brown. And then Sammy at Tiny Hummingbird Stitchery started a fabric of the month for Atomic Ranch. And I need more fabric, like I need a hole in the head. But, Sammy's my friend and I signed up. And so we got the first 2. We got Destiny, which would be a good sampler fabric. And we got Forget Me Not, which is a nice blue and nice sky color kind of blue, and those are always useful because you can always find stuff to put on a good sky blue. And then I don't know what possessed me to do this, but last week I think I was just sort of browsing on Mercari, and last year sometime I had sort of accidentally come across a chart on Mercari. I had Googled the chart and it turned out it was available for $5 on Mercari. So I went and got it. And so I was like, let me see if I can find some more of these charts. And I Googled and I found them on eBay. So I bought 2 more. So here, it's a series. So here are the charts. This is the first one that I got. This was the one that I was most after. And I got it from Bush Mountain Stitchery probably in 2019 or 2020. I think Bush Mountain has now become Mountain Air Stitchery. But this is Legends of the Silver Screen uh, by Dimples Designs. This is number 4, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. And then I happened to Google them that one night, and I found, I don't remember which one was which, but I found one on eBay and I found one on Mercari, and I got them both. This is John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. And this is Elvis Presley and Anne Margaret. And so the ones I found on eBay last week, this is Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis. And this is Natalie Wood and James Dean. So I have 5 of them now. And the last one that I'm missing is number 6. It's Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable. And so I think it's going to be difficult to find. So I have 5 of them. I have the Lucy and Desi one kitted. I haven't started it yet. I have it kitted. I don't know if I'm going to stitch any of the others. I don't know. Collecting is a different hobby than stitching, right? So um, we'll see if I can acquire the Vivian Leigh one. But so I got those. And then, of course, I got my Hands Across the Sea box. This box was so much fun. It was like Christmas. And I know a lot of people who got the box kind of um, went through it slowly. They would open one a day, or they opened it over several days, or they waited until their birthday, or they waited until, I know one of the women, her husband was I think out of town on business, and she waited till he got home. Um, so, but not Laurel. I opened it. It took me about 30 minutes or 45 minutes to open all of it, but it was so much fun. And I was kind of afraid when I opened it, or when I ordered it. I was kind of afraid that, because she had said that it was 14 charts, 14 samplers, and I was kind of afraid that I was going to be like, I'm only going to like 2 of them, you know. I spent all this money and I only like 2 of them. Um, and thankfully it didn't turn out that way. I don't dislike any of them. There are some that I'm not very likely to stitch, and some that I definitely want to stitch, but there weren't any like I was like, oh, I don't like that one. You know, they're all okay. Some of them I like more, and some of them I like less, but I don't dislike any of them. So these are in random order. So this is Mary Crompton, 1838. And this one is probably the one that I'm least likely to stitch. But there's that one. This one, Nicola was so excited to have this one. I think it's kind of unusual that you can find these, but this is a sampler stitched by a mother, and then the sampler that her daughter stitched. And um, in the leaflet, Nicola talks about how both there was a family member of theirs that had both the samplers, and so she was able to acquire both of them from their family member to chart. And so uh, this is this is Jessie Anderson, and this is her daughter Jessie Gay. And of these 2, I'd probably stitch this one before I would stitch this one. But I like them both. Like, I'm not mad. This is Uh, Jesse Ormiston, what was that, 1887? This one is okay. I don't know if I'll stitch this one. It's okay. This is Sarah Blackburn, 1832. And this one is also okay. Maybe I'll stitch it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. This is Jessie Stewart with the house with the purple roof. That amuses me. This is Catherine Wallace, 1839. I'm kind of undecided how I feel about this one. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. This is Isabella Watson, 1867. I don't like the fabric on this one. Because I find it distracting. Like, you can't see the project because it looks like it got something spilled on it or something. I don't like the fabric for that one. But actually, I wonder if that's the original. That might be the original and it's just old and got stained. Maybe that's what that is. This is Maria Ward, 1839. This would be a quick stitch because it's just words. This is the one that I want to stitch first. This is Bertram Seville Ogle. This is stitched by a boy, and you know those are kind of unusual. And this is the one that I'm going to stitch first, and I'm hoping to start it this year. And she talks about in the book, because you know Nicola always, if she can find the information, and some of these she has a story, some of them she says, you know, there were a lot of girls with this name, and at this age, or there's just not enough information to determine which girl it was that stitched it. But this one, she was able to find him, and I'm like, this guy was Downton Abbey before Downton Abbey was a thing. He belonged to nobility, and he was an attorney, and he had a very posh life. And he and his wife owned multiple homes, and yeah, he was very posh, and he was probably around 12 or 13 when he stitched his sampler, and or maybe a little bit younger than that. And she says she doesn't know what happened that he ended up stitching one. Like maybe he was in bed ill and he wasn't able to go to school, or she's like, we don't know what the circumstances were that led him to stitch a sampler. But this is the one that he stitched, and so this is I think I'm going to do this one first. I don't know when I'm going to start it. I'm hoping to start it this year, but my starting bandwidth is kind of low. I'm not, you know, I'm trying to finish some stuff before I start things. This is Elizabeth Langley, 1858. I do like this one with a little bird in the center. So I'll probably stitch that one. This is my favorite. And, well, there's one thing about it that bothers me, but this is my favorite one. This is Henriette de Soldat, 1937. And it says Lex smiles at courage. And I don't know why the S's and smiles look like G's. That kind of bothers me. You can't really see all that the CC work down there. Where you stitch the background and then outline the shapes. It's a bunch of backstitch. But if I hold this, will it focus? I don't know if it's going to focus. It's not focusing. Anyway, so so this is my favorite, but it's very, very large. It's what's the stitch count on this? It's 459 by 184. So it's very, very large. And I don't have the bandwidth for that. And this is why I'm starting with Bertram Ogle. But I like this one. And I have a little soapbox about the Lex Smiles at Courage thing. Because I agree with it. And I have a little soapbox about when people say, oh, you're so lucky. You guys aren't here for my soapboxes, but sometimes hard work is mistaken for luck. And there was an actor, I think in the 30s, who's credited with answering the charge. Oh, you're so lucky. And he's like, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So I agree with the sentiment that Lex smiles at courage and hard work. This is Harriet Baker, 1835. And I like this one. I'll stitch that one. This one is interesting. This one reminds me of, like, Prairie Moon. This is Celia Pedney, 1905. And she stitched it in two colors, black and red. So, and this one's not very big. I'll probably stitch this one. It's very striking. And those are all the samplers. So then there was some goodies. There was a tea towel. It was a very large tea towel, which was meant to cover your work. Like if you use a scroll frame. I do not use a scroll frame. Or if you use a stand and you keep your work set up all the time. I don't do that. So I took it to work and I hung it in my cubicle. It has Henriette Soldat printed on it. And my coworker that I talked to about my stitching a lot, she saw it in my cubicle. And like when you look at it, it looks like stitching. And she's like, wait, did she stitch that? She didn't finish that. She would have said something to me if she had finished that. So she says she went up and she touched it. She looked at it. She's like, oh no, this is printed. She didn't stitch that. Okay. So this is another sampler. This is just a little drawstring bag with another sampler, Ann Ogston. And I found out that she taught this at Hands Across the Sea. And she's going to release it at some point here. I think maybe aftermarket or something. But there's the little drawstring with Ann Ogston on it. There's an eyeglass case with a sampler called Elizabeth Stevenson printed on it. So there's that part. And then that part. There's a scissor fob with the little parrot from the one sampler in it. And the scissor fob is from Minnie McBean's Needlework for Paris. And it's got the little beads and It's got a little bird charm at the bottom, little heart. There were several coupons for several vendors here. There's a fabric panel with 4 of the samplers printed on it. And I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do with this. No idea. And maybe Nicola talked about it in the unboxing video. I have not seen the unboxing video yet. So, no idea what we're supposed to do with this. Is that it? Oh, there's a tote bag here. I'm not going to unwrap this. But this is a tote bag that also has Annoxen printed on it. So, there's that. And I think that's it. There's several coupons. So, it was great fun. I'm glad she only does it once a year because it's not cheap. And actually the Homespun Needlework group was releasing a exclusive right before this. And you guys know I buy a lot of those exclusives. The one they were releasing was Stacy Nash. And hers are kind of hit and miss. Usually more hit than miss for me. I mean, more miss than hit. So I was like, I'm going to look at it. And because I knew I wanted to order this, and I'm like, if I have to wait until it comes out in a year as a chart, then I'll just wait. But it turned out I wasn't really that crazy about it. So I didn't buy it. And I probably won't buy the chart either. But this was a ton of fun. And I'm hoping to get to Bertram Ogle sometime this year. And this was the first one of these I've gotten. I haven't gotten the others. This was the third one that she's done. But it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so I think that's my video. It's been 45 minutes, which is actually a little shorter than I thought it would be. I think that's it. So we're gonna try again in March for 3,000 stitches. Try to get closer to finishing Tetelestai. Yeah. And so I hope you all have a wonderful stitching month. And I will see you next month. Happy stitching. Bye.